the apocalypse had arrived. My reborn wife brought her male assistant into our home, threw me out of the villa, and seized every supply I had painstakingly gathered. She borrowed money from all our friends, maxed out every legitimate lending platform, and even turned to loan sharks, spending it all like the world would never end. I simply watched her spiral into madness in silence, because I knew the apocalypse would end in 3 days. My wife, Vienna Wagner, had been reborn. Early that morning, before the sky began to pale, she suddenly woke and declared the end had begun, urging me to gather every scrap of supplies I could. Wife, I bought the supplies. Can you help me sort them? By then, the air outside already scorched my skin, the temperature rising beyond 60 degrees Celsius. I drove with my daughter to the nearby supermarket, filling the car with everything essential to survive. The supplies were piled so high they nearly brushed the ceiling. But when I called her, all I heard was her impatient, mocking voice. That's all you managed to get? Can you stop being so dramatic? You're a grown man. Starting today, the world is entering the apocalypse. The temperature will only keep rising, and supplies will vanish faster than you think. If you don't want to die out there, hurry up and bring everything back. Hearing those familiar words, I couldn't help but smile. With my daughter by my side, I moved every box and bag into the villa next door. Daddy, we're only leaving this much for mommy. Won't she be mad? I gently patted her soft hair. She won't, because that's all she needs for herself. I told my daughter to stay inside the villa and not wander, then carried the leftover supplies to Vienna. Vienna thought she held the upper hand, but she never knew I had been reborn, too. In my previous life, when the apocalypse struck, she and her male assistant, Jude Caspian, seized my villa, stole every supply I had painstakingly gathered, and threw me into the streets. I had ended up torn apart by zombies, and my body never recovered. After I died, my soul drifted back home and heard, with my ears, how she locked our daughter in a dark room just so she and Jude could indulge themselves on the couch. Then, in a twisted moment of ecstasy, the two of them died without warning, and our daughter left alone in that cramped darkness, starved to death. Before she took her final breath, she kept begging Vienna to let me come home. I hovered helplessly in the air, drowning in endless resentment. When I opened my eyes again, the furnishings around me felt both familiar and foreign. I checked my phone, and the date confirmed it. I had been reborn. I returned 1 month before the apocalypse began. I had come back an entire month earlier than Vienna. In this life, I would protect myself and my daughter, and drag Vienna and Jude, those two scumbags, down to hell with me. I found the property certificate and promptly listed the villa for urgent sale on the platform. This villa was my premarital property, and I had every right to dispose of it. To avoid arousing Vienna's suspicion, I specified in the contract that the handover would only take place after the apocalypse ended. Then, I used every bit of my savings to buy the villa next door and hired 3 construction teams to work day and night without pause. Using the finest materials, I transformed that villa into an unbreakable fortress. In this stronghold, my daughter and I could survive. Every time I spent money, I disguised it as an ordinary expense and wiped all traces from my phone. When Vienna finally announced that the apocalypse had begun, I pretended to be completely unaware and spent the last of the balance on my bank card. Vienna looked over the supplies I had brought back, her expression turning black with anger. This is all you got? Are you stupid, trying to get us killed? She snatched my phone out of my hand, opened the banking app, and when she saw every account sitting at zero, she rolled her eyes in fury. How can there be no money left? You must be hiding it somewhere. I let her search to her heart's content,